Hey, what's up? It's Swamp, back for another tutorial. Okay, in this one what we're going to do is build a launching platform to launch you up to that ramp up there. So, what we're going to start off doing, I have ramp pieces here. I have this ramp to launch you up, to jump you up to this flat section. I have 4 flat pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue the last 3 of those together. So glue those together. Alright, so now what we need to do is get a physics joint. So what you need to do is go to Common, Physics Tools, Physics Joint. Alright, so you open that up and turn it to Slider. You want to make the properties advanced. The first target is going to be something that's not the platform moving, which will be that ramp piece there. The second target is going to be the moving platform. Okay, so now with linear settings, you go to Linear, Motor, turn that on, and I'm going to set that to 4,000 right now, the velocity and the max force. Now, I've done this before I have a ramp piece up in the air already, so I know that 4,000 will get you up there. You're just going to need to play around with the numbers to get what you want. I'll show you a way to do it if you want to go, like if you go too high with these numbers, it's going to actually go through the rider and not push him up. It'll just kind of kill him. So I'll show you how to make it go higher without killing him, and I'll show you that after we do this. So let's do this first. Okay, so set those 2 to 4,000. Now the lower limit, what we're going to do is crank this up to 12 meters so that it goes up, gets a nice good force to throw you up, and then it'll stop at 12 meters, but you'll keep going. Okay, so now let's disable collision and select the pivot. I like to just double click the right stick and then rotate it back up, just to make sure it's straight. Okay, so now what we're going to need to do is when the rider touches this, it's going to need to turn on the physics to make this physics joint work. The physics joint's on, but nothing happens because physics is not turned on these items. And I'm talking about this physics right here. This physics is not turned on. So what you need to do is turn that on when the rider hits it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a trigger. We're going to use a hit trigger. And what the hit trigger does is it tells when 2 objects collide. So the first object is going to be the bike and the rider. That's already set. So the second object, we just need to select what we want the bike to hit. So we select Object Instance, and we're going to select this glued group. Now make sure that you select the group that's glued together. There, okay, you see all of those are yellow, so that means that's the whole group that's glued. Otherwise it was just giving you single ramp pieces. We don't want that. We want the whole piece. Okay, so now that's set, so now we need to give it something to hit. So we're going to go and get a physics event under events. We're going to grab a physics event, and that means to turn on the physics, and the target is going to be this glued group there. Alright, so now we go back to the hit trigger, and then when those 2 objects touch, when the bike hits the ramp, then on hit we go to the physics event to turn on the physics. Okay, so now that's all you have to do. That's it. So let me show you. Actually, we already chose a bike. Let's test it. Alright, so you ride down, jump up, and when you hit it, it turns on the physics and throws you up in the air, and you fly up to this ramp and land. So that's how you do that. Now, if you want to go higher, if you want to make it go more and send you up higher, let me show you how to do that. Alright, so let me show you guys how to set it to a higher level. Right now we have it set at 4,000. So if you set it to a higher number, it's going to go through the rider unless you ease into that number. And so the best way to do that is to use a curved data source. So we're going to grab a curved data source here. We're going to set it to quadratic ease n. We're going to go to 10,000 here. So let's set this up. 10,000. Alright, and this I'm going to set to 40. Okay, and then we need to disable this. Now to turn this on, what we're going to use is a variable. And this is a different way to do it other than using a state event. So I'm going to show you how to do it with a variable. So in variables, if a variable is set to 0, that's off, and 1 is on. So right now it's set to off, so we're going to need to set it to on. So we need to set value event to set the value of the variable to 1. So set, we go, value is going to be 1. The target is going to be the variable, That's all you need. Okay, so now we're going to, in the curve data source, the enabled, we're going to set that to the variable. And then here at the physics joint, when the hit target hits the impulse hits the physics joint, then we're going to continue the impulse up and hit the set value event to set that to 1 to turn on this curve data source. Now here with the physics joint, we're going to set the linear motor settings. We're going to set the target velocity to the curve data source, and we're going to set the max force to the curve data source. And then we're going to go and we're going to set the limit Y. We're going to bring it up to 18 meters because we want to give it time to get up to speed. So let's set that to 18. You have the curve data source is turned off. It gets turned on when you touch it, and the physics joint uses that as the force. So let's test this out and see how it works. Hopefully I can make it to that ramp I put up there. So you see it gives you a lot more force, and it looks like I can make it. Yes. Alright, so that's how you do it. Let me do it one more time, show you, because it's pretty fun to do. I'm actually thinking about putting this in a track. It's pretty awesome going really high. So, okay, so that's how you do it. Thanks for watching, and have a good time.